Hello. In this section, we're going to make a website for a hothouse design. The first thing we need to do is download files from the website. So in our browser, we need to type in the URL, and when we get this page, we need to download each file one by one. So to download the file, right-click, Save Link As, and I've created a folder where I'm going to store the files for this particular paper to keep myself organized. So save here, and one by one, there's no easy way to do this all together. You have to go through them all separately and download them. And now that they're all downloaded, we can continue to the next question. Now, the suitable software package we will use to create a web page is Kompozer. That's Kompozer with a K. And the first thing we want to do is create a new web page. This is the name we call it. And we're attaching a style sheet to it. Now, to attach the style sheet, we need to click on the CSS button. And let's call this page JXRHC. And we'll save the page as JXRHC. It says .htm in the instructions. Change that to, in capital letters, HTM. And make sure we save this in the same folder as the other files. Now, to attach the style sheet stated to the web page, we click the arrow next to the palette here, linked style sheet, choose file, find the file in the folder that we're saving everything else in. Open. Now, it's very important before you press OK, there's a step that's not very obvious but is essential, and that's to click the Create Style Sheet button. And you can see once I've clicked that, the background of the page has changed colour, so that shows we're now using the style sheet we've linked to. And now we can press OK. Now we want to create 3 tables in this web page as shown earlier in the instructions, and the top table comes from the file jxtop.htm. Now first, I'd just like to open this file in my browser to see what it looks like. By opening it through Finder, it's going to open in my default browser, which is Firefox. Now, this is what the top table needs to look like. The easiest way to place this in Kompozer is to right-click, View Page Source. I can see here's the HTML I need, so just copy the HTML, Command C to copy, and go back to Kompozer. And in HTML view, click View HTML Source. I can identify where the table needs to go. It goes in the body of the page, and paste. And then I change back to Design View. I can see here is the table exactly as required. Now we need to set a few things about this table. So while I'm in the table, click on the table button. The table itself, so click on the table tab, needs to be 100% width of the window. So width should be 100%. I'll leave the percent of window selected in this box. And that's all I need to do with the table, so that's okay, click OK. Now at the top of the page we want an anchor called Start. And it doesn't tell us if that should be above the table or within the table, so let's leave it inside the table. Click Anchor, and the anchor name is Start. It's important here to distinguish between uppercase and lowercase letters. That's an uppercase start. And I'm sure that later on we'll create a link back to this. So we need to be ready to do that. But before we do that, to continue with the instructions, we want to replace the text candidate name with our own name, center number, and the candidate number. Now we are onto the middle table. The middle table we have to create ourselves, we're not importing it from somewhere else. So click below the first table, and the middle table needs 3 rows and 2 columns. So click on the table icon, 3 rows, 2 columns, 3 by 2. Okay. Now this table needs to be 90% of the width of the window. So again, click on Table, click on the Table tab, and the width now is 90%. And the alignment of the table should be in the center of the window. So choose Center here, and click OK. Now I don't see any instruction asking us to merge cells, but if we look back to the layout shown at the beginning of the instructions, we can see that the left 3 cells in the middle table should be merged. So if we select those 3, we can right click and join selected cells. And now in this merge cell we want to insert an image. So insert an image, click on the image icon. We need to find the image. It will be in the same folder we've downloaded everything from. JX Arbor. First we have to navigate to the correct folder. Click Open. Now, we could insert in some alternate text here, which would show in our browser if our browser couldn't display images. But there is no instruction asking us to do that, so let's just choose Don't Use Alternate Text and press OK. And there's the image in the correct place. Next, we need to put certain text in the right-hand cells, and they come from the file jxtext.txt. So navigate back to Finder. Let's open jxtext. This should automatically open in Text Edit. Here it is. So the easy way to do this is just copy one line at a time into the correct cells in Kompozer. That's the first cell, second cell, third cell. And notice that these should be style H3. So if I select all 3 cells can change from body text to heading 3. And we can see the colour's changed, so I guess pink is the colour of our heading 3. Very pretty, isn't it? And finally, we need a bottom table. This one is similar to the top table. It comes from the contents of another file. So back to Finder. Let's find JX bottom. Open it in Firefox. This is what it should look like. Right click, view page source, copy, Command C, and back to Kompozer. We need to paste this in, we need to paste in the HTML source. So again, click on View HTML Source, and this position here is after the previous table, the middle table. We can see the end table tag, but it's still within the body. So Command V to paste, View back to Design View. You can see there's a top table, a middle table, and a bottom table. Now, there's some text that says place anchor here. Need to replace that with an anchor called snow zone. So let's delete this text and insert an anchor. Again, upper or lowercase is important. Sorry, snow zone in uppercase. So the anchor must not be visible on the page. Well, when we view this in our browser, it will not be visible. I think we missed step 13 though. Set the table width of the bottom table to 100%. So click on Table, Table tab, 100%. Step 15, we need a hyperlink from the word snow up in the top table. Here's snow, select the word snow, click on link, and if we look through this, if we look through the possible selections here, snow zone is the anchor we can link to. Click OK. And make the words click here. So this is back in the bottom table. So let's click here to return to the top of the page. Again, we're making this a link to the anchor at the top of the page. We call that one start. Now, step 17, we need to insert some images to replace the words in the bottom table: sun, sea, sand, contact us. First, we need to find the most appropriate image, but we can do that while we're browsing for it within Kompozer. So let's delete the word sun and click on image and find our picture of a sun. So we can't see what they look like in this view, but if we click the icon view, we get a small version of each picture. And none of them look particularly sunny, but I guess this is a sun hiding behind the clouds. So open and press OK. Again, we need to click don't use alternate text, otherwise Kompozer will complain. So there's our sun. We need our sea. In fact, the first picture also has sea, so maybe that would be also an appropriate picture. But is there a more appropriate picture? Well, number 3, we can see half of that picture is filled with sea. Again, don't use alternate text. Okay, and there's our sea, the pier jutting out into it. Now we need some sand. terribly clear, but I guess this is a picture of some sand. Don't use alternate text. And there's some reasonably smooth, soft sand. And final one, contact us. So delete the text. Insert an image. Browse for an image. And there's a funny looking guy there. And 2 very old cell phones. So I guess the cell phones represent contacting us. Oh, and there's an envelope behind, so that would be another appropriate way of contacting us. Now the width of each image needs to be 160 pixels wide, maintaining the aspect ratio. So we can click back on each image, click the image icon, dimensions, custom size 160, and you can see the height automatically changes to maintain the aspect ratio. That's okay. This one looks 160 already, but let's check. It is indeed, so let's leave that alone. And this one also looks 160, but let's check. Yes, it is. Now we need a hyperlink from the image placed in step 18, so that's the C image, to another file that opens in a particular window. So click on the image, so that's the C image, click on link, and this is going to be linked to jxc.htm. And this link is going to have to open in a new window. Actually, there's nowhere in Kompozer that lets us do this when we're linking an image, so we're going to need to do this a slightly more complicated way. Let's press OK for now. To help us do this, let's just type in the text C again, because when we're linking text within Kompozer, we can specify named new windows. So I'm going to link this text to jxc.htm. I'm going to open that. If I want this in a named window, I need to tell it in this frame, and the frame is _C in small letters. That's okay. Now the reason I'm doing that is because that's going to let me see what the HTML code looks like, and then I can copy that into the code for the link from the image. So view HTML source, and if we scroll through the source, we can see here is the C. Here's the text C we've just created. And we can see how the link is specified. Now the part of the HTML that specifies where the link is going to be opened is this target equals. So if we copy that, we can then go back and paste this into the previous link, which is the link from the image. We need to have a space there. And I'm not sure why the target is not named here, but target equals, then inside the quotation marks we need the name of the frame or the page it's going to be opened in. So view, design. Now we can delete the word C, and the link from the image should still work. We can test it later. Now we need a hyperlink from the image placed in step 20 to send an email. So that's this image. So obviously we're going to use an envelope or a 1980s phone to send an email. And this link, again, we can't use Kompozer to specify this exactly, but let's just put in a random piece of text, and we'll go to the HTML code and edit it. here's our random link that we've added. Now we just need to change this into the code for a link that will cause the browser to open a mail client and try to send a mail. So the code for that, instead of HTTP, is mail2 : and then the name of the email address of the person we're going to compose an email to. So RHC in capital letters at ci.org.uk. That should work again. We can test that shortly. So let's go back to design view. Now we want to save the web page. So we've already named it. Let's just in fact, no, we've not named it with the 1 in the file name. So let's go to File, Save As. And now we want to save it as jxrhc1.htm. Save. Now to print a copy of the HTML source, well, first we should check everything works, and then we can also print a copy from our browser. Now to open it in our default browsers, click on the browse icon, and here it's opened our web page. You can see this is a local web page because it has file at the beginning, not HTTP. And let's just check everything looks okay. Let's check the links work. So if we click on snow, it takes us to the end of the page. That's fine. If we click here, it takes us back to the beginning of the page. That's what we want. The images all look correct. This second image takes us to another page, so that works. And it's opened in a new tab in my browser, so obviously the named window has worked. Close that. And if I click on this nice telephone, it brings up my mail client that I don't actually use. So I'll quit that. So all of the links and other stuff seem to be working. So to print a copy of the source, if I right click somewhere in the middle of the page, I can click View Page Source. Here's the entire HTML source from the document, and because I'm printing it from Firefox, it's nicely coloured so I can easily highlight the sections I need to highlight. And within Firefox, print, and print to my printer. So I can close that, I can close Firefox. And step 25. Now I need to attach a different style sheet. So go back to the CSS button, click the arrow next to the palette, link to style sheet, choose file, this time jxstyles2.css. The very important but easy to forget step is click on Create Style Sheet before pressing OK. And we can see that the lovely pink we had before is now yellow, so obviously the style sheet has been correctly applied. Now this needs saving with a different file name, so again File, Save As, now it's jxrhc2, again .htm in capital letters, save. Again I need to open this in my web browser, so click on Browse again. Here it is again, looking slightly different. And this time I need to print evidence, print screenshot evidence of this page. So this is basically evidence that I've opened it in my browser. So I can maximize the browser. I need evidence of the entire page. So first at the top, let's take a screenshot of the entire screen. Let's do Shift-Control-Command-4. Select the whole window. And then if I open Microsoft Word, paste this, Command V. So there's one screenshot from the browser, and for the rest of the page, scroll down again, Shift Control Command 4. Let's select the entire browser window. Back to Word, enter, and paste the second screenshot. So here's evidence that I've actually opened the page in my browser. If the instructions just require evidence of what the page looks like in the browser, the simpler thing would be just to print it directly from the browser. So File, Print, print out page. But the instruction is not terribly clear about what it wants. Now the next step is to open another web page. So back to Kompozer. Open the web page, click on the Open a Local File button. It's generally not a good idea to open files in Kompozer through Finder, because for some reason that doesn't work, at least on the computers in our school. So always use the button within Kompozer to open IGCSE.htm. Open. There's another page. Attach a style sheet to it. CSS. Click on the arrow. Link style sheet. Choose file. Styles 2. Open. The very important step again, click Create Style Sheet. You can see the change before pressing OK. And now we make the text home. Here it is. A link back to JX. Now I could choose the file, or we could type in the file name. I think I'll do it by choosing the file just to make sure I don't make a mistake. There's the file. Click on Open, and Open, and the link has been created. And now we can save the web page.